Hello there, everyone, and welcome to TVS Nightline. Here with me, Cheryl Treminator, and as always, thank you for joining me tonight. Now, on to the headlines. Now, top headlining story today as the hunting operations continues despite the success of capturing 2 crocodiles in the Meranek River. Now, the operation was conducted to track the crocodile responsible for the fatal attack recently, which the locals believed is still at large. According to the crocodile hunt head of operations, one Mazlan, one Mazian, the second operation aims to capture 5 more of the vicious reptiles.
Cakap tu dan namiko dah. Aku mangsa dua mangsa kan mangsa dulu 4, mangsa dulu di dua baru yang boleh kami dan namiko dah. Dibunuh namiko dah.
Okey.
Tapi sida kampung belum puas hati lah, belum puas hati boy belum ada dapat yang mangsa lah. Jadi kami terpaksa dilanjut dah kerja kami sampai ujung minggu tu.
The recent tragedy, which claimed the life of Azian Azhar, 28 years old, who was reported missing after being attacked by the reptile while fishing in the said river with his father. Following the incident, a search operation towards the crocodile was activated at the area. Mazlan also added that a total of 6 crocodiles was successfully captured and killed, including the latest 2 reptiles on Tuesday morning.
Mungkin dapat esok, mungkin lusa kami dapatnya, mungkin dapat lah. Kami kami masang air kami semua tempat lepak yang besar, lepak yang baru turun. Masa tuknya udah bebas sudah, sebabnya udah orang tiada habisin lagi dalam sungai. Kami orang ajak dalam sungai. Jadi masa tu bebas lah kami kerja.
Meanwhile, the crocodile operation is still continued from time to time until the target capture can be achieved. Now, following the next news, as the body of a boy from Kampung Haji Ismail, Kuala Tatau, who was feared drowned in the river, has been recovered. The victim's body was found about 400 meters where he went missing while fishing, accompanied by 2 of his friends.
The body of the victim, identified as 14-year-old Arfanirul Abdullah, was found by 3 villagers at around 12:45 a.m. The villagers stumbled upon a crocodile that appeared from the river with the victim clenched between its teeth. According to Tatau Fire and Rescue Station Chief Jangke Jikat, the victim's body was horrifically mutilated. The right hand was missing, fractured leg with crocodile bite wounds all over the body. Having successfully prevented the crocodile from continuing to eat its prey, the villagers brought the victim's body to the village hut. The body was later handed over to the police for further action.
Meanwhile, Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department Assistant Director for Operations, Hendry Ardimansyah, reminded the people to always be cautious while carrying out their respective activities in the river. This poses as a reminder following the recent fatal crocodile attack. This was due to the decreasing number of river activities, which included the shipping, fisheries, and ferry services.
Utamanya apabila bertembung dengan buaya adalah lebih baik kita menghindari, menjauhkan diri, menjarakkan diri daripada buaya berkenaan dan jangan mengambil tindakan sendiri seumpamanya dengan menghalau ataupun membuat ganggu kepada binatang berkenaan seolah-olah untuk mengusirnya daripada kawasan berkenaan. Mungkin kawasan tersebut merupakan kawasan wilayahnya yang mana boleh mendatangkan tindakan agresif kembali kepada pengganggu ataupun individu berkenaan.
Meanwhile, he also urged the people to contact relevant authorities if they ever stumble upon the predator.
Sekiranya terlihat buaya berada di kawasan awam dan sebagainya, elok dinasihatkan untuk segera menghubungi agensi berkaitan seperti pihak bomba, pihak Sarawak Forestry yang berpengalaman di dalam mengendalikan binatang berkenaan supaya kita kalau di pihak agensi berkenaan boleh menangkap dan mengembalikan ataupun memulangkan buaya berkenaan kepada habitat asalnya.
Now, following the recent weather condition, effort was being made to clear the landslide debris, followed by repair works of Nona Buddhist's house. The cost to repair Nona's house amounted to 40,000 ringgit. Meanwhile, Nona expresses her gratitude with the help of the villagers and donations from non-governmental organizations or NGOs.
Terima kasih aku selama dia guru untuk wifi dulu. Pada pagi ya, Ramses mu awal di tod kereta tod kiri tanah tod sakuri doh kumiris. Yo present tong get roku.
This wasn't her first encounter. In fact, this is the second time Nona's house was damaged by landslide.
Pabira ku jet nano mo do dia banget lah. Paku dengar berasek meti do. Tab tuba bunga nanti. An sebak mo tekan. Masebak no deras. Di kunang atu. Kunang kumos mayak. Di kunang coba ongget jen jana, sebak jana, sera jana. Dan do da dunia tipu mabenak besamuti seku makana ku ro di sigon sanda seku teru ku kuda tanak ku ti besamuti sa nyetok remin ku seku daku yang moku braku sida odo daku braku duo seku sian gaku modo ko nado ku sian ya mengerok betul-betul ku.
Meanwhile, Mambong Assemblyman Dato Dr. Jerip Susil said the clearing and repair work can be completed within 1 or 2 weeks.
Baik boleh Ini sumbangan daripada orang awam, sumbangan, dan ada juga daripada pusat khidmat daripada pejabat saya lah. Jadi kami menyumbang, tapi oleh kerana dana tidak mencukupi, kami minta daripada NGO yang mempunyai semangat untuk memberi daripada CSR mereka.
Meanwhile, 37 landslides occurred at different locations in Mambong, a result of the heavy downpour recently. Now damaged roads leading to Kampong Anasader, Kampong Kiding and Kampong Sepit in Upper Padawan will be repaired.
Dan terdapat juga di kawasan-kawasan Kampung Sadir, Kampung Perang, Kampung Gerung, Kampung Karu, dan beberapa juga kampung-kampung yang terlibat dari segi tanah runtuh di rumah-rumah individu.
However, Datuk Dr. Jerip Susil pointed out that the repair works may take a while as the Public Works Department, JKR, was still assessing the damage.
Ianya akan mengambil masa. Kami minta supaya penduduk kampung ini yang terlibat akan sabar kerana kami tahu bahawa pihak daripada JKR akan mengambil masa untuk membuat suatu penilaian dari segi kerosakan yang berlaku dan juga dari segi berapakah ongkosnya untuk mengadakan membaik pulih.
Now, following the next update, as the Movement Control Order, or MCO, will be implemented in 5 more states from January 22 to February 4, 2021, thus bringing the entire nation under MCO except Sarawak. Senior Minister of Security Cluster Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the measure was taken after the increasing positive COVID-19 cases in the community in the states involved. The 5 states that were implemented MCO, namely Perak, Kedah, Perlis, Negeri Sembilan, Pahang and Terengganu. He said from risk assessment and on the advice of the Health Ministry, or MOH, the government agreed that MCO is enforced in the states to curb the spread of COVID-19. Now on to some COVID-19 updates, as 14 deaths were recorded, bringing the country's death toll from the infections to 619. Malaysia recorded 3,631 COVID-19 cases today. The country's cumulative cases now stands at 165,371 cases, making today the 5th consecutive day where new infections have breached the 3,000 cases mark since January 14. All cases today were local infections, except for 7 which were imported. Meanwhile, Sarawak recorded 156 new cases, bringing the total cumulative tally to 2,367 cases. Cebu recorded the most cases at 65 and followed by Miri at 28 cases and Kanawit 24 cases. One new cluster, dubbed the Rakut cluster, was detected in Sarawak's Miri district. The new Rakut cluster recorded 10 cases. Meanwhile, we have good news as Malaysia Airlines Berhad received top-notch recognition from Airline Ratings in an independent review of its COVID-19 health and safety measures. Now, according to the review, the national carrier was deemed to have excelled in all categories, earning them the 7 stars.
The rating is based on 7 criteria, namely COVID-19 guidance on the airline's website, social distancing, flight attendants' PPE, the compulsory of face masks, modifications to meal service, passage hygiene kits, and deep cleaning of the aircraft. Airline Ratings is a worldwide airline safety and product rating review website. MAS Airlines Group Chief Executive Officer Captain Izam Ismail said, COVID-19 presented a challenge unlike any the aviation industry had ever faced previously. He added the airline needed to adapt its services and protocols quickly to ensure that passengers and staff are kept safe and comfortable.
Now, the PERMI stimulus package, which includes one-off monetary assistance for taxi drivers, bus drivers, tourist guides and e-hailing services, received positive response. Meanwhile, Dayu Adrus has the details. Recipients of the stimulus package are grateful, and this is because the aid helps to lessen the burden of the people during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Macam kami mendapatkan TVS masa tu memang terjejas lah. Kami mendapat kerjaan masa tu lebih berat juga tentang taksi. Sebab kami taksi kini tu masih ada pendapat lain yang nak harap taksi aja. Kesatunya, kedua kami kini tu kerjaan negeri ada bunyi 500. Sebab syukur juga kerjaan negeri muat merit lah.
Yang bantuan e-hailing 500 ya. Kira sedikit sebanyak membantu juga lah. Kami orang dalam keadaan yang macam tu jejas sikit lah. Sebab kami orang memang betul-betul berharap dengan Grab tu lah. Memanglah mun kita nanggal 500 memanglah. Mun kita fikir-fikir memanglah cukup. Tapi kira sedikit sebanyak ya ada membantu sikit lah. Kira ada juga lah pakai beli barang-barang anak sekolah apa semua.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Chairman of Kuching Division, Bumiputra Taxi Association, Abdul Rahman Ahmad, hopes that the government will give a monthly allowance to the drivers because their income is badly affected due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ini telah ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada pihak Perdana Menteri yang mana telah sudi untuk memberi one-off. Ini adalah one-off yang kali kedua. Sebelum ini, tahun lepas, pihak Kementerian Persekutuan telah memberi kami one-off sebanyak 600 dan ini adalah kali kedua sebanyak 500. Saja ini, bantuan ini dan kami amat berharap kalau dapat bantuan yang berupa allowance bulanan berkenaan dengan cukai excise yang mana telah dilonggarkan oleh pihak Kementerian Persekutuan. Kami harap ini adalah bukan satu jalan untuk kami untuk membuat bayaran cukai yang teramat murah. Dan kami berharap kalau dapat seterusnya lah selepas habisnya COVID ini.
Jumlah bukanlah ukuran. Diharapkan bantuan yang diberikan ini mampu memberi sinar kepada golongan pemandu teksi dan e-hailing untuk meringankan beban tatkala Malaysia masih dibelenggu pandemik COVID-19. Laporan Dayu Idrus bersama juru kamera Muhammad Gusti Nur Ambia untuk TVS.
Meanwhile, the Malaysian Economic and Rakyat's Protection Assistance Package, or PERMI, worth 15 billion ringgit was announced at the right moment, especially when the nation undergo its second Movement Control Order, or commonly known as MCO 2.0.
Political analyst Professor Dr. Awang Asman Awangpawi said PERMI plays a big role in stimulating the country's economy. Apart from the effort to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, the government also cares about the welfare of the people, especially the B40 group.
Daripada itu, untuk meringankan beban rakyat, kita dapat lihat pemberian percuma data 1 GB kepada orang ramai bagi tujuan pendidikan mulai awal ini hingga April. Dan bukan itu saja, malah pelepasan cukai untuk meringankan beban rakyat sehingga 2,500 kepada pembelian telefon bimbit, komputer dan tablet dilanjutkan hingga 31 Disember 2021. Jadi kita dapat lihat dalam konteks ini betapa kesungguhan itu begitu ketara sekali.
Meanwhile, employers are also not forgotten whereby the continuation of wage subsidy program introduced previously. At the same time, the government has also provided an early allocation of 200 million ringgit to help alleviate the burden of the people due to the recent flood disaster. In connection to that, he hopes that the affected people will receive the assistance.
Jadi kita lihat dalam konteks ini bahawa banjir juga berlaku di Sarawak dan ini perlunya ada penyerasan pembangunan ataupun bantuan daripada Putrajaya dan kepada konteks negeri Sarawak ini supaya rakyat dapat menerimanya, bukan sekadar mendengar jumlah yang besar, beratus juta, 100 juta pas kali, tapi rakyat biasa tidak menerimanya. Jadi yang penting ialah memastikan bantuan-bantuan yang diumumkan tersebut dapat dilaksanakan dan sampai ke peringkat rakyat bawahan. Itu yang paling penting.
As we dive into digitalization, digital transactions are now available in rural areas in line with the government's policy to strengthen and broaden the Sarawak digital economy. Now, e-wallet or Sarawak Pay continues to receive positive response since it was introduced in November 2017, especially in the urban area. Now, meanwhile, it is now holistically expanded to rural areas to achieve digital balance between the two areas. Although the use of Sarawak Pay is still new for the people in rural areas, it is not too late to learn and adapt with the latest developments and facilities for their convenience. In Pusat, the usage of e-wallet application has proven to be useful in terms of the purchase and payment. This shows that the people in the rural areas are keen at adapting to the latest technology into their daily lives. For the locals in Kampung Sepinang Pusat, the usage of Sarawak Pay are highly encouraged.
Setakat ini, sambutan Sarawak Pay daripada masyarakat luar bandar, khasnya kepada masyarakat Kampung Sepinang, sangat menggalakkan dan di sini mereka cuba menarik minat mereka untuk berada seiring bersama-sama dengan masyarakat bandar.
It was described as a new thing for the rural communities.
Pengguna Sarawak Pay tu mestinya semua anak. Ada separuhnya tahu, ada separuh tak tahu. Macam kami menggunakan Sarawak Pay tu, kami beli barang keperluan untuk dijual lah.
However, internet access in rural areas are still limited, which brings about challenges for the application services to be expanded. But the government believes to have plans to expand the internet access throughout the state, especially rural areas, in the aspiration towards becoming a developed state by 2030. Now, following the next update, as in an operation dubbed Ops Landai in Kuching, a suspect in a white lorry was detained at 7th Mile, Kota Sentosa, Sarawak at 2:15 p.m. today. The suspect was a local Chinese man, aged 40, who was arrested, along with 250 boxes of alcohol, with an estimated total of 38,212 ringgit. Now, the total seized items through the operations were estimated at around 118,212 ringgit. Now, the case was being investigated under Section 135(1)(d) under the Customs Act 1967. Meanwhile, the case has been brought to the Kota Sentosa Police Station, IPD Padawan, for further investigation. Now, 6 vehicles were destroyed in a fire near a commercial unit at Desa Ilmu. Fire and Rescue Department JBPM received the report of the incident at 9:55 a.m. Firefighters from Kota Samarahan Fire and Rescue Station, or BBP, rushed to the scene to put out the fire.
Di mana Pihak bomba apabila telah menerima laporan kejadian tersebut telah bergegas ke tempat kejadian dan kita telah berjaya menyelamatkan 4 buah kenderaan yang diparkir di situ dan 6 buah musnah dalam kebakaran. Punca kejadian tersebut masih lagi di dalam siasatan lah. Kita telah pun berusaha mendapatkan pegawai penyiasat yang ada di zon Semerahan dan dibantu oleh anjing pengesan lah, supaya kita dapat menemui lebih cepat lagi sebab dan punca kejadian.
No casualties and other structural properties were damaged during the incident. The fire was successfully put out and the operation ended at 10:25 a.m. Now on to some crime development as the Marine Police arrested 2 men at Kampong Ipai, Limbang over suspicion of smuggling contraband cigarettes.
Sarawak Marine Police Region 5 Commander Assistant Commissioner Police Samshul Qasim said, following the arrest, several boxes believed to contain illicit cigarettes with unpaid duties worth 150,000 ringgit were found in the vehicle. The cigarettes and MPV were seized with an estimated value of over 150,000 ringgit for further investigation. 2 men aged 21 and 37 were arrested and handed over to Limbang Police for further action under Section 135(1)(d) of the Custom Act 1967. Meanwhile, on the same night, a patrol team found the other vehicle abandoned at Kampong Ipai. Further investigation found several boxes believed to contain cigarettes with unpaid duties in the vehicle.
Now, further investigations must be carried out to identify the cause of the explosion at an oil palm product processing plant in Tanjong Langsat, Pasir Gudang in Johor.
The National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health NIOSH said in a statement it views seriously the incident that resulted in 1 death and 2 other workers injured. It said occupations involving hard works such as welding, grinding or blasting close to flammable and explosive materials can result in potentially fatal disasters. NIOSH added work safety procedures, supervision and employee conduct are among matters that need to be emphasized during work. In the incident on Saturday evening, 45-year-old welder Wilson Bangau was killed. 2 other workers, Bonsi Buli, 42, and Muhammad Shafiq Abdul Rahman, 23, were injured. NIOSH said welding work near crude glycerine is very dangerous as it is easily flammable.
Now on to our weather updates as the Malaysian Meteorological Department or Met Malaysia has issued an alert weather warning with heavy rain expected in several areas in Sarawak until Wednesday. Now the areas involved are in Sabah and Sarawak.
Met Malaysia in a statement said that similar weather conditions are also expected in some areas in Sabah and Labuan until today. Meanwhile, Met Malaysia Director General Jailan Simon in a statement said strong winds can also occur in the coastal areas in Sarawak and Sabah during the period. Strong northeasterly winds of over 60 kilometers per hour with waves as high as 4.5 meters can occur in the waters of Sarawak, West Sabah and Labuan.
And that concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. Here with me, Cheryl Shaminator. As always, I'll see you next time and have a good night.